Ancient Egypt remains one of the most fascinating and mysterious civilizations in the history of mankind. The rise of this great culture, which began in the Neolithic, is shrouded in legends and hypotheses that attempt to explain its unprecedented achievements in technology, art, and culture. One of the most puzzling aspects of ancient Egyptian civilization is the possible use of long-lost knowledge and technology passed down by the so-called gods during the Zep Tepi, or first time. According to ancient Egyptian lore recorded in the Temple of Edfu, Zep Tepi was a period in the distant past, around 18,000 BC, when mysterious, highly enlightened beings called knowledge bearers appeared in Egypt. They brought with them advanced technology and knowledge that laid the foundations for future Egyptian civilization. These texts describe how the gods established the first rules and technologies that were later inherited by the pharaohs. One of the most significant archaeological discoveries related to these ancient technologies is the Nabta Playa site in the southern Sahara Desert. In 1998, archaeologist Fred Wendorf discovered an ancient stone calendar circle and 25 other megalithic structures. According to NASA astrophysicist Thomas Brophy and his team, the three stones in the calendar circle at Nabta represent the Belt of Orion, the same constellation that the three pyramids at Giza symbolize. This discovery hints at the deep astronomical knowledge and precise engineering skills used in ancient Egypt. In fact, the Nabta Playa area is a dried-up lake, and the multi-ton stones were spotted as early as 1973. But researchers did not take them seriously then. However, we find later records that describe the structure as follows. In the center of the megalithic construction, which has the shape of a circle, 5 stone monoliths with a height of almost 3 meters are vertically arranged. These pillars in the center of the circle serve to visualize the sun at its zenith during the summer solstice. If one joins one of the central megaliths with the 2 stone blocks about a mile away in a straight line, this line points east-west. 2 more lines drawn in the same way through other similar stones determine the directions southeast and southwest. Around the central part of the megalithic complex were located about 30 more of its constituent elements. And at a depth of 4 meters below this part, a mysterious relief was discovered, carved on the flat horizontal surface of a rock. It wasn't long before the findings attracted the attention of Californian astrophysicist Thomas Brophy, who devoted years to studying the area. In his 2002 book, Map of Origins, Brophy created a model showing what the starry sky above Nabta Playa looked like during different periods. He found that the circle of stones served as a calendar and astronomical map. Brophy concluded that the stone circle had meridian and horizon lines that made it an observatory. Around 6,000 years ago, observers could use these stones to point to the constellation Orion, especially at the summer solstice. According to Brophy, this cannot be a coincidence. He argues that the placement of the stones was carefully planned, which proves the existence of in-depth astronomical knowledge. His research shows that the position of the stones corresponds to the stars in Orion, not only in 4,940 BC, but also in 16,500 BC. He also considered the possibility that the Nabta Playa megaliths track the trajectory of the center of the Milky Way, which shifts every 25,900 years. He also calculates that the probability of these correspondences being coincidental is 2 in a million, leading him to conclude that the stones were placed with purpose and knowledge. Could this knowledge have been passed on by a more advanced civilization or alien visitors? The ancient Egyptians considered their calendar a legacy from other worlds. According to them, it was given to them in the first time, a period when darkness disappeared and people received the gifts of civilization. Naturally, much of scholarship offers a more rational version of the purpose of the Nabta Playa megaliths. Archaeological evidence suggests that people did not live there year-round. At that time, the area still had a lake, and the ancestors of the ancient Egyptians settled on its shores when the water level was high. When the drying heat came, they moved to more suitable places to live. The circle of giant stones was used to calculate when it was time to prepare for travel, helping them determine the day of the summer solstice. Even if the conclusions of Professor Brophy's conclusions about the connection to the constellation Orion are correct, scientists say there is nothing supernatural about it. Orion's belt is one of the most conspicuous objects in the starry sky. along with the basket of the Great Bear, and orienting the observatory by these stars was natural. However, some researchers continue to see in Nabta Playa a map of the galaxy left behind by aliens. They continue to search for evidence and may soon discover more secrets about the ancient stones. What is undeniable, however, is that this was a very advanced installation, radically different from what we know about this ancient civilization and its knowledge. When we talk about ancient lost technologies, it is important to ask the question, how were the ancient Egyptians able to work hard stones, such as granite and basalt, with the tools available in their time? The discovery of the obelisk at Aswan and similar sites raised serious doubts about the capabilities of the technology of the time. Engineer Christopher Dunn argues that the distinctive features of stone cutting in ancient Egypt suggest the use of mechanical means unavailable at the time. The unfinished obelisk at Aswan is about 138 feet long and weighs approximately 1,200 tons, but was abandoned due to cracks. Its workmanship is so precise that it is hard to believe that it was carried out using only bronze and dia-based tools. According to Dunn, such designs suggest a more advanced civilization that possessed mechanical technology. Further evidence of the high technology available in ancient Egypt are the sarcophagi at the Serapeum in Saqqara. These massive granite coffins are made with a precision that would be extremely difficult to achieve even with today's technology. Their surfaces are polished to a mirror-like shine, and their interiors are carved with incredible precision. Dunn states that the ancient Egyptians used techniques that we cannot explain with the technology and knowledge known to our time. According to him, these objects may be the work of an earlier and more technologically advanced culture. He proposes that mechanical cutting tools powered by something like water or wind energy were used, stressing that the marks on the stones, including the deep cutting lines and perfect holes, could not be achieved with familiar bronze tools. According to him, working granite and other hard stones requires tools capable of high speed, which the ancient Egyptians apparently had at their disposal. Could it be that Sabu's disc, which we told you about in our previous video, was used for just such processing? Some of the most interesting finds include tools that appear to have been designed for cutting and shaping stone. For example, artifacts such as dia-based hammers, diorite hammers, and dia-based balls, dolerite balls, used in combination with sand as an abrasive material indicate attempts to cut and shape stones. Other significant finds are copper drill bits with wooden handles, but these could not have produced this level of precision without additional technology. Dunn's research is not the only one to suggest the presence of advanced technology in antiquity. Other scholars have also discussed the possibility that ancient civilizations possessed knowledge that has been lost in time. This includes the hypothesis that some of these technologies may have been inherited from earlier, more advanced civilizations that have disappeared for unknown reasons. Archaeologists and historians have proposed various hypotheses related to the possible means and methods used by the ancient Egyptians. According to them, natural acids may have been used to soften the stone, which would have made it easier to cut and shape with simpler tools. Others suggest that sound waves were used to cut the stone, a technology that also requires a high level of knowledge and skill. One of the most intriguing and mysterious methods proposed by researchers is the use of concentrated sunlight to cut the stones. This hypothesis, although it sounds like science fiction, has its basis and support in some modern research. Geologist David Lindroth of the U.S. Bureau of Mines has demonstrated that it is possible to cut stones with a laser, which supports the hypothesis of the use of advanced technology in antiquity. Lindroth used a 100-watt laser with a beam diameter of 0.08 inches, with which he was able to make precise cuts 0.08 inches wide and deep. He says that with repeated passes, this method can be used to cut any type of stone. Lindroth's work has inspired some scientists to suspect that the ancient Egyptians used a similar principle, but instead of a laser, they used concentrated sunlight. The hypothesis is based on the idea that, with the right conditions created, sunlight could be directed and concentrated to the point that it could be used to cut stones. The idea involves the use of mirrors and lenses to collect and direct sunlight to a specific point on the stone. For example, the use of parabolic mirrors could collect and concentrate the sun's rays in a small area where the temperature could reach thousands of degrees. This would allow the melting or burning of the stone surface, which could then be easily removed. While there is no direct archaeological evidence for the use of this method, and this hypothesis remains speculative, it does offer an interesting explanation for some of the most puzzling achievements of this great civilization. But the mysteries of ancient Egypt do not just extend to strange technologies. They reach to the manipulated DNA of one of the pharaohs and to ancient symbols depicting helicopters, airplanes, and submarines. To hear the whole story, click on the image now and we'll be back together in a second.